Hello, Internet. So before I start the review, I just want to apologize for the fact that it takes me 7 years to upload a new video. I'm hoping that as winter break comes around, which is in about a month, that I'll be able to upload more frequently. But until then, it might take another 7 years. I'm hoping 7 years means next week, but we'll see. Now, review. So I'm going to talk about the book Unholy, which is the sequel to Unwind, which is the book that I reviewed in my first video, which I will link in the description. So this book, I liked it. It started out a little slow, but for me, I didn't feel like it took very long to pick back up. Now, there were things that I liked and things that I disliked. So starting off with things that I liked about the book, there was good continuity between, or the continuity was good between the first book and the second. Like bringing back characters, like the way that Unwind did it was, bringing back earlier characters from earlier in the novel. And Unholy brought back characters from the first book that you really didn't think were important other than their, moving along of the plot at that point in time. So, two of the characters that they got brought back were Sonia, which at the point of reading Unholy, you don't really know entirely what her role is, so they just brought her back and I thought that was cool. And Ned. Now, if you don't remember, Ned was the juvie cop. He's the one that Connor shot with the tranquilizer gun. So they bring him back. Now, I kind of felt that his role in the novel was kind of predictable, but they needed a conflict, so there you go. Now, another thing that I liked, as always, is character development. I felt that the character that it focused on the most was Lev, and it's just more of the same growing up that you see in the first novel. It just continues on in this one. So he was just the one that was focused on the most, I felt. Now, not that that's bad, which this leads me to the things that I didn't really like about the novel, was that things that were going on with Cam and Risa specifically, there wasn't enough. I think it wasn't focused on enough. When Cam is introduced, you see what he's feeling, you know what he's going through, but when Risa's brought into the picture, you don't see her side of things, and I think the novel would have benefited more had we seen what she was going through. I feel like that since there wasn't enough from her, it makes a disconnect between the reader and her character, which I guess in a way could be seen as a good thing, because it sort of creates a parallel between how the rest of the holies, as they called themselves, and especially Connor, feel with her as the novel goes on. So if it was done for that literary purpose, then good job, Neal Shusterman. Otherwise, why wasn't there more of her? But personally, I just think that I feel this way because I like her character so much, and I would have just liked to know more of what was going on inside her head as it was happening, rather than finding out most, because I'm sure there's more in the next book, of what was going on at the end. So that was, the main thing that I disliked about it. Just not enough Risa. A thing that I did think of, though, when I was reading this, was on all of the chapters that were about Cam, it made me think of Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. If you haven't read it, you should read it. It's a pretty good book. But to me, Cam just seemed like a much more socially aware version of Frankenstein's monster. So I mean, aside from the obvious allusion to the monster, you know, being made from other people, I don't think that's a spoiler. It's said in the back of the book, like on the summary, so if you didn't read the summary, there you go. He's made from other unwinds. So aside from that allusion in itself, the tone of the chapters is really what reminded me of Frankenstein. And if you haven't read Frankenstein, you know, he sort of sees everything from an outsider's perspective that, well, not Frankenstein, not the doctor, the monster. Frankenstein's monster sort of sees everything from an outsider's perspective and is trying to figure out how he fits into it. Now, I felt that the reason why Cam was just a more socially aware version of the monster is because he did have, like, the minds of hundreds of other unwinds. I think, no, maybe it was 100 total, I think. Something like that. But because he did have all of the, you know, these thoughts from them, he did know how to figure out society a little more. And he figured out how to get what he wanted in a more acceptable, though probably still morally questionable way. That I just thought that was a cool literary allusion there. Like I said, overall, it was a good book. I would have liked to see more from Risa's perspective, just because I think she's pretty cool. As it is, it was a good novel. The third one, which is called Unsold, is in stores now. I have yet to read it. I have it. I just haven't had the time to read it yet. Gotta read a book for school, which isn't as fun because it's about depressing things. But I have Unsold, so I will hopefully be reading that soon. So yeah, that's pretty much it. The next videos I have planned are the Maze Runner trilogy is probably going to be the next one. It'll be all 3 books in one video just to make it easier on myself. There might be spoilers. I'll try to keep those out. So yeah, I will hopefully see you soon.